Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Terran News Network, your most trusted source for news in the Terran Republic. We have a few main stories tonight. Our first main story is about the worker revolt that is taking place on Io. The EO mining group has requested the assistance of the army in putting down this revolt. The army has agreed to this request while negotiations for payments continue between the government and EO mining group. Our second main story tonight is that amateur astronomers have reported seeing strange lights in the skies between the orbits of Earth and Venus. We asked Secretary of the Navy Clara Gutierrez about this during an interview earlier today, and she responded by saying those lights that people reported seeing were just some ships from the Carrier Strike Group 1 carrying out a naval training exercise. We also asked her about the disappearance of the TRS Acri. She's quoted as saying that the TRS Acri was lost due to an accident during the training exercises, that the exact details are still being investigated, but what I can say is that the current cause is thought to be a reactor overload that went catastrophic, causing the reactor to explode and killing all of the ship's crew, including its captain, Commander Valentia Monti. She also added that the families of the ship's crew are being provided the same benefits as if the ship had been lost during combat. That is all for this special news report from Terran News Network, voted the most trusted source in news in the Terran Republic. If we're not talking about it, it's not important. Glory to the Republic, and we will see you next time. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Aurora 4X C# 2.1. So, last time, the Sol system in general was being threatened by raiders, but at the very end, Earth is now itself being directly threatened. The aliens are generally not approaching Earth because they do notice that our fleet is there, and theoretically our fleet would be able to beat the shit out of them. It would take heavy losses, but in theory we could beat them. The main issue we are running into, however, is that as a result of generally not having a ton of Galsite on Earth itself, only having about 1,800 currently stockpiled on Earth, we have about 10,000 currently stockpiled back on Mars, so what we're going to try and do is sneak the first cargo group out to Mars to load up all of that and bring it back to Earth. That'll help us with two things that we need to do. One is build the missiles that we will need to be able to actually deal with the alien threat. The second is to be able to actually refit the fleet. Speaking of refitting the fleet, let's go ahead and just quickly go over exactly what the new designs are going to generally look like. I'm going to focus on just our military vessels because those are the ones that are actually important, and we are also going to ignore the escort carrier because it is not really important. So let me go ahead and real quick hide a bunch of stuff. So first things first, I've been doing a little bit of theory crafting, but it's really only been theory. Haven't exactly done much in the way of crafting and actual testing. But I have thought about potentially building a set of Marines, basically, as well as transports to go with them. The idea is that these will be able to board weakened enemy craft that have been left behind by the rest of the fleet so that we can board them and get even more information. We can then, of course, tow the ship back to Earth orbit and deconstruct it. That'll also allow us to be able to get extra minerals as well as get their components and be able to disassemble them for research points. So first thing up, we have the actual assault carrier itself. It is 46,000 tons, roughly, or actually slightly larger than our carrier, although not as much with the refit. We'll go over the refit as well, like I said. It has 20 hangar decks and basic stuff, cargo shuttle bay so it can load up troops and whatnot relatively easily. 7 of these 680 engine power engines, allowing it to have a total speed of, we'll just round and say 5,200 kilometers a second. It's not particularly fast. I could slap another one on there, but it would make the ship significantly larger, which is one reason why I do not wish to do so. On those assault carriers are going to be these assault shuttles. These are the things that will actually transport the Marines from wherever they are to the enemy ship. Generally speaking, that will be on the assault carrier. Of course, I could launch these from a normal carrier as well if I were to equip it with these by replacing the parasite ordnance, basically. But generally speaking, my plan is to have these be on the assault carrier because these are 500 tons and only able to carry about 250 tons of troops each. I actually, and I might change it a little bit, but as of right now, the assault carrier is set up to be able to carry 40 of these. The idea is that most of the ships that they will probably end up boarding outside of weakened ships are potentially enemy troop transports. And in that case, their ground troops, at least the infantry, would be capable of helping to defend the ship. And the enemy gets a defender bonus, and I believe that will apply to the troops being transported by the enemy at the same time, not just the crew. And so that is something that I sort of need to be able to make up for with just ludicrous amounts of troops. I fully expect that these Marines, when they board, are going to take heavy losses, especially if they're boarding a troop transport. But I expect that 40 of these, and maybe a couple will get lost as they approach, will be capable of taking over basically any ship. And we'll sort of go over as well the design of the Marine platoons that will be transported by these shuttles. Next up, we have the refit carrier, the 2125 iteration of it. It is 43,000 tons. It is now up to 5,500 kilometers a second speed, which is a very significant uplift over the 2113. It has brand new active search radars, or active search sensors rather, giving it a maximum range against a 5,000-ton object of 51.8 million kilometers. Compare that to the old one, which I can't actually do because it's a locked design, so let's go and pull it up here, is only 39.8. That is a fairly decent improvement. It, of course, does not have any newer armor because we haven't had any new armor research done at all. I did add a flag bridge because this will be able to provide certain bonuses to the rest of the fleet, not just this ship. I did not give it a primary flight control because my understanding is that this largely affects the basically refuel and rearming time. Well, these things don't refuel and rearm. Well, I mean, they refuel, but that's not a significant issue for our fighters. Currently, we do not have fighters that carry anything other than a railgun, so they don't need to rearm. As you can see down here, though, I am theory crafting a little bit for that as well, for future carrier designs that are likely to be significantly larger than this current one. I did give it an ELINT module. It is only a strength 11, which is actually worse than our current EM sensors, which have a sensitivity of 14, so they do not quite have the same range as our current passive sensors. I don't think I'm going to bother going and trying to get 14 before we actually get the refit done on the carrier. I just don't really care too much for it. But this can give us a little bit of additional intel on the enemies as well. We have 7 of these 680 engines. It's the same engines as, well, the assault carrier. All of my military ships are using the same engines, at least when it comes to large ships. The destroyers, they also have been given active sensors now because, as it turns out, that was a bit of a hindrance for the quick reaction forces. They don't have active sensors on the current iterations. Well, they do, but it's a small one. They relied on the carrier. Well, the quick reaction force guys don't have a carrier right now, and I don't expect to give them one. When we get further down, I might give them a cruiser, and you'll see why. But as of right now, they do not have any significant active sensors, which hampers their ability to react. I did go and redo our railgun designs slightly because they were all recharge capacity 6. They don't need to be recharge capacity 6. There is no benefit, to my knowledge, of having double the recharge rate of what is necessary to be able to fire every 5 seconds. So the 10 centimeter ones have a capacity of 3 for the recharge rate, giving them a 5-second reload or 5-second rate of fire. And the 15 centimeter ones have a 4.5. Again, I think in this case it's only 10 seconds, because I do not quite have what is necessary for them to be able to actually do a 5-second yet. That'll happen further down the road. I'm sure the next major refit of these designs will probably have it. I've also been theory crafting early warning craft. These would actually have active sensors. The main purpose for these is to work with the strike fighters further down. There's nothing really special about these. They have an engine and some active sensors, and that's it. Our brand new fighters, the F3 Fantails. They have the 20,000 velocity 10 centimeter railguns. Again, recharge rate of 3, so that they have a 5-second fire rate. And this little 102 engine power engine. It is a bit better. They are not significantly faster, but to be honest, 12,000 kilometers a second, I think is pretty damn good, and I don't expect to go significantly higher. The big thing for me going forward is probably going to be either trying to get smaller engines or more fuel-efficient engines. If I can drop the size of our fighters to 300 tons so that I can stick more of them into each hangar bay, that would be wonderful. And so that's basically my plan, is to be able to do that. Next up is our guided missile cruisers. Again, they have the nice fancy schmancy new active sensors, new beam fire controls to go with the longer range that the new railguns provide. They're almost, well, they're a little bit over 5,900 kilometers a second speed, so they are significantly faster than the current versions. Again, major engine upgrades this generation. If I look at this actually and compare the current engines that we have equipped, see if I can find them real quick. Where are you? There you are 2,000 tons, but they only put out 544 engine power. The new ones are also 2,000 tons, but have 680, which is a fairly significant uplift. So with the same number of engines, we get significant speed improvements. I did also add a CIC and main engineering to help with repairs that will inevitably be required, and then the benefits for, I believe it is tactical for the CIC. I believe the flag bridge, I believe, is reaction across the fleet. I'd have to double check on that. I think we actually skipped over the old original destroyers. The escort ones. Actually, no, I didn't, because I talked about the new railguns there. The guided missile destroyers, they have slightly more missiles than before. I am also planning to probably replace our current missiles, even though they have not been in service for very long. As it turns out, they're not that great, and we can design something that is significantly better in basically every possible way. Especially to take into account the fact that we have new missile fire controls that have longer range. Our recon fighter, same as the old one, just with the brand new thermal and, just passive sensors in general. And then the strike fighters. The big thing here is that I am still trying to decide whether or not I want to go with 5 size 4s, because I can design pretty decent size 4s that will pack a punch, or if I want to go with 3 size 8s to minimize the number of missiles that I need to be manufacturing. That is a thing that I have not quite decided on yet. I am leaning more towards the size 4s because, like I said, I can design many more of them, and it also allows me, when I inevitably design a carrier that has a magazine to reload these guys, I can fit significantly more missiles in the same space compared to if I do the size 8s. It would literally be double the missiles in the magazine. And so that's why I'm leaning. I'm leaning more towards doing the B1A here instead of the B1B, but I haven't quite decided yet. We'll see about that in the future. That all went significantly longer than I had originally planned to, and I hadn't even started my timer, which is good. Because let's get to the actual content now. So the big thing for us, like I said, is first things first. I need the first cargo group, wherever you are in this mess of orders, to fly out to Mars, load all minerals, fly back to Earth. I said fly back to Earth, and then unload all those minerals. You shouldn't have no trouble carrying all the minerals here off of Mars. I mainly want the gal site, but I'm going to send you there. Might as well just have you pick up everything because I kind of need it all anyway. We'll look into designing the new missiles after the threat has been dealt with. I don't want to have to be dealing with that research. I did also mention that we were going to look at the Marines. So here is the Marine platoon, 250 tons. The company will never use because we don't have a means of actually fitting that onto the shuttles unless I decide to build a giant Marine transport, which I don't expect to do. This is currently just placeholder units. I do have stuff set up ready to go for the actual designs, but just sort of as a general idea of what they will look like. They will have a platoon HQ. They will have a special one for the Marines because it does need to have boarding capabilities. They will have a MG team. Although I do refer to it as a Marine LMG team because it's crew-served anti-personnel instead of heavy, but whatever. As well as infantry. The infantry, however, will not be using improved personal weapons. From reading on the forums, it looks like in the case of Marines, generally speaking, you're just better off going with light personnel weapons. 1, they're smaller, so you can fit more. 2, they generally have enough penetration for equal tech levels against crew. Obviously, however, they are not particularly great against an actual military unit, but they should be more than sufficient to deal with actual just crew. The reality is the LMG team is mostly there to be the one to actually help deal with the enemy that has real armor. Of course, the aliens that we would be likely boarding at this time is, of course, these guys. The Raiders. They are not equal in terms of tech. They have 20 armor strength on their infantry. Granted, their infantry is probably using, if I had to make a guess, it's probably using normal powered infantry armor. So they're at least 1 above us, basically, in terms of armor. But crew is basically half whatever their racial armor is. So they can still take some shots, realistically, from us. But let's go ahead and get this stuff ready to go. We're going to be doing relatively short-ish increments because one thing I did notice during a sort of testing run is that these guys are just gonna kind of fly back and forth, and depending upon what kind of time movement I make, the game is not gonna stop them. And I did actually have an instance where they literally came right on top of Earth and destroyed one of my ships before I was able to tell my ships to open fire on them. So we are going to be doing like 20 and 1 minute increments. They're going to fly away, they're going to fly back, then fly away again, then fly back. Theoretically, they would eventually run out of fuel, but of course that would be, months of waiting for that to occur. So we're not doing that. I do not want to do a 3-hour increment because I think that would be just a little bit too long and they would probably end up plopping down right on top of Earth. So we're just going to go ahead and do 1-hour increments because it seems to not quite move them nearly as much. Okay, now let's see. There we go. We have the Galsite now, correct? Yes, we have 12,000 Galsite. Let's get those missiles going, guys. Are they paused? No, they're not. Okay, wonderful. We should be able to build quite a few of them relatively quickly. But the main thing is that it's still kind of slow for building them. And I do not... Now, I could, of course, send our fighters out to go after these guys, and they could do a bit of damage, and we just probably lose all the fighters that we currently have instead of being able to replace them with the new stuff. Which I'll admit is not necessarily the worst thing ever. Okay, looks like I can do 3-hour increments relatively safely unless they completely change how they want to do stuff. But yes, these guys are not expected to actually finish building these 220 some odd currently until July, which is a pretty decent distance away. Especially when you're only incrementing every 3 hours. And that's assuming you don't get an increment that ends up being shorter. And so I do expect that we are going to end up probably just sending the fleet out. But part of the thing is that our current railguns do not outrange them. They outrange us, and we don't necessarily have the speed to close that distance quickly. So we are going to inevitably take shots. Now, since they seem to largely be ignoring us, I'm wondering if I can sneak out the salvage fleet to Seti to grab this wreckage real quick before heading back to Earth. I think I can. Oh shit, they're actually coming in. Okay. Before they inevitably turn back. Okay. I'm a little surprised that they decided to come that close this time. I wonder if they calculated, hey, maybe we can get the salvage fleet, and then said, wait, no, we'd get a little too close to the actual military ships, and thus change their mind. Of course, we are also waiting for our STOs to finish. Those aren't going to be done until October, however. But we're going to get those out everywhere else as soon as possible. If I do recall correctly from a test run I did, however, I think I need like 4 more of these. So let's go ahead and queue those up so that as soon as the current ones finish building, we can go ahead and get them out there. Where's the tug? Where's my tug? Oh, the tug is still trying to make its way to the jump point. Yeah, if our ships were a bit faster, we'd be able to go after them. The main thing is that I think it's really our carrier that delays us. Yeah, because it's only a little over 4,000. Well, a little under 4,100. And these guys are about 45. Now, I could break off just the destroyers, but they're not going to do nearly enough damage on their own. Neither would sticking the cruiser, and the cruiser would slow them down because the cruiser is the same speed as the carrier right now. The new versions, however, are not. New versions are quite a bit faster by about 400 kilometers a second. The refits are, of course, also somewhat larger than the current ships. But we should have zero problem actually doing the refits, going by my test, because they're the same size. Okay, did the tug make it? Yes, the tug made it. And is already bringing the one ship of the first quick reaction force that was damaged back. Now, we do also have quick reaction force 2 that is just kind of sitting here outside Earth as well. We pull that up. They have nothing on them beyond their ships. They're just bodies. I could, of course, throw them at the enemy. You know, that's always an option. It's a valid option. It's a terrible option, but it is a valid option. Which is why we're not doing it. Okay, you are orbiting Earth, so get you into here, get you down here. Let's go ahead and tell you guys to refuel and okay, you're already refueling and resupplying. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and have the shipyards go ahead and start the repairs on you guys, however. Okay, Acorn finished getting repaired. I lost sight of the enemy for a second there. Looks like they got close enough because we did apparently attempt to communicate, which is a little bit strange. It's 28 missiles. That's not... No, Jesus Christ. Where are you going? Are you going to leave? Yeah, okay, you're going to leave. Yep. Back off, buddy. Back off. None of us invited you over. Do we have a couple more? Nope. Okay, that's him backing off quite a bit. Then he comes back in. Theoretically, I think if I do my calculations when he's at the bottom, his orders will send him flying out here. I believe. That seems to be the case, at least. Let's do a save. It's going to be a very slow one. I don't expect to reload. I'm just doing a save anyway, just for the hell of it. Just in case something goes absolutely horribly wrong. Yep. If I do it when he's at the very bottom of a swing, I can manage to eke out an 8-hour. Which is actually great. Because it allows me to speed this up just a little bit. Actually, in theory, could I do a day then? If he's at the bottom, can I do a day? Yes, I think I can, because he has poofed out of existence for a little while. There we go, found him again. So if I can do a day, can I do 5 days? You're getting quite a bit closer this time, buddy. Let's make sure that he's at the bottom. So I can do a day. Can I do 5 days? I can. Oh no, that was only a day. Before he got back up here. Damn. Well, you know what? It is something, because it does speed this up just a little bit. We're up to 37. The main thing is these guys will back off if I can manage to do a little bit of damage with missiles, but I kind of need some missiles. It's our main problem, is we don't have enough missiles to be able to actually do it. But like I said, if I can manage to get just enough, we can do it. So we have 32 fighters that I could launch. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and send out the fighters. We're going to sort of harass them. So don't show planets, don't show dwarf planets. Show me contacts. And the question is, who do I want to go after? The main thing for me is dealing with the actual ships that are a threat. Which in terms of ships that have weapons that have range, it is going to be the Tekkas, of which they have 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send 1 fighter squadron after each Tekka. Turn on their actives. Make sure that their fire controls are set up, and they are. They're fast enough to be able to catch up to these guys, no problem. The main thing is that once we have An active sensor lock. I do need to start issuing orders. There we go. That should be close enough. So you are going for 11. So you are going to be told to shoot at 11. Assign that to the fleet and open fire. You should be going for 12, if I recall correctly. But double check. Yes, you are. So I'm going to tell you to shoot for 12, assigned to fleet, fleet open fire. Which means you are going for 13, assigned to fleet and fleet open fire. I need to close this because then I can just advance time with spacebar. Now, we know that they have a range. Double check it. Of 160,000 kilometers. So once we are, well, we'll just sort of round it. We'll say 160. So once we're around here, they will start opening fire. I think I can do a 30-second increments for a little bit as we close the distance further. Yes, this is basically as close as we're going to get. And boom, we have arrived. We lost quite a few, and that's fully what I expected. Did we manage to destroy any of theirs, however, or at least do significant damage? We did get a penetrating hit on one of them, which is great. The main thing is that we're not focusing fire, we're spreading it out, which is probably going to result in more losses than if I actually focused fire on a specific target. Tekka 12 has been destroyed. Wonderful. You guys are going for 12. I'm going to go ahead and shift your orders and tell you to go after 11. Adjust your combat orders and tell you to go for 11 now. Across the fleet, I'm going to actually back off VF1. They have taken too heavy of losses for my liking. So fleets, head back to Carrier Strike Group 1, land, turn off your active sensors, and cease fire your... There we go. Penetrating hits on 11 and 13. More penetrating hits, but again, we are taking losses. Looks like 13 has fallen behind. Which, if so, is great. 13 has been destroyed. How heavily damaged is VF3? VF3 is still good to go. I'm going to go ahead and tell them to continue the push and go after the drill. Because VF2 should be able to finish off Tekka 11. Which drill did I tell you to go after? 3, okay. Assigned to fleet. Lost another one. Tekka 11 has been destroyed. How badly damaged are VF2? They're down to 4. They're going to back off. So actives off. Ceasefire fleet. Your orders. Land on assigned mothership / squadron. The drills do have weapons. They are going to fire back. We are going to still take some losses, but I believe we should be able to punch through them significantly easier. They have less range. They do have a slower rate of fire. Or actually, no, the same rate of fire, but it's slower than us, is the main thing. We lost another one. Lost another, but we are getting penetrating hits. Lost 3 more and 1 penetrating hit. I think that's going to be enough to tell, yep, you guys to back off. That is damage done. I think I actually told the wrong guys to cease fire, maybe. Oh no, you guys aren't told to cease fire. Never mind then. But yeah, get the hell out of there. So that's going to leave a string of, wreckages for us. Now, the reality is our destroyers do outrange the drills. So what I am going to do is I'm going to detach our destroyer escort. And I'm going to tell it to go after the drills. I do need to double check our range, just to make sure I don't send them too close. Our range on these is 120,000 kilometers. Their range, as far as we have observed, is 68. I don't know if that is accurate or not. It's possible that they just did not want to fire. So what I am going to do is I'm going to say do a follow at 100,000 kilometers. Are they coming back or where are they going? No, they're still flying away. We will be able to catch up to them. And they are flying back at us again. Destroyer escort. We are going to go ahead and only use the 15 centimeter railguns. Double check that I actually have my number correct. That was for the 15s, right? Yes. They seem almost as if they want to approach us, but then decide, never mind, let's not. We have gotten them into active sensors. Assigned a fleet. Open fire all on that. I know they're not in range, game. So we're still closing the distance. Now the Yaic, I'm pretty sure, if I pull this up for hopefully the last time for a while. Oh no, the Yaic is actually military. We've only seen that fire at 39,000, but apparently it looks like it's using 10 centimeter railguns because of the damage 1. The drills are definitely using, I believe that is 15s. So they might have the same range or better than us. I need to double check my values here on the railguns, but I believe damage 4... Oh no, damage 4 would be a 20 centimeter railgun. Oof, okay, these guys probably have more range than us. Potentially. Again, the furthest we've seen these guys fire, the drills, is 60 some odd. And they probably would have already opened fire on us if they had the range. Oh, no, they did. They have opened fire on us. We got 10 hits on them, 3 penetrations. 5, yeah, they got more than us. Which is obviously a problem. But if I can slow them down, that would be great. Now I could close the distance and make use of our 10 centimeters. Our destroyers do have 10 of those. But the main thing is that being at a distance, even though they have more guns than us, Okay, the Abercrombie is gonna head back to Earth as best it can. We're getting a couple more hits in. How is the Acri doing? It seems to be doing okay, actually. It actually still has a decent amount of its armor. The Abercrombie, though, yeah, it lost quite a bit of stuff. Tell you to cease fire and turn off your actives. Two more penetrating hits on them. Two more penetrating hits. Out of curiosity, how are we doing on missiles? Still only at 37, damn. Oh, I say still only. It's not a whole lot, but what I could do is back this up. Detach these guys, tell them to load ordnance from Earth. They have done so. Wonderful. Whoops, did not mean to increment, but I did on accident. Okay, and the Acri, I think, just lost its engines. So what I need to do now is I'm going to tell the Acri, shut off actives, ceasefire, orders, remove all, head back to Earth. Yeah, you're going to need to I'm going to need a tug out there, but for right now, I need you to just try to break off on your own. In the meantime, what is the maximum range the game's actually going to let me fire these? Because I know it's a little bit funky sometimes. If I try to tell you to fire at this, you say 2.5 million kilometers. So we're going to do 2 million kilometers is going to be how close you guys get. Whoops, that's order delay. I want minimum distance of 2 million. Thank you very much. They're still heading away, so what I can do is probably get, I think it's Tug 2, isn't it? Oh, is it still bringing it back? Oh yeah, second tug group is still bringing back the other one. Oh shit, they're coming back in for the, Oh no, they're not. It looked like they were, but they're not. They are still flying away. Oh shit, now they came back. We're probably going to lose that one. What I can do is that, just so that you can at least put up a fight. Open fire all. Actives on. Yeah, okay, they outrange us. We do now have some better information on what the Darills have. They do have, looks like the exact same rail guns as on the Tekkas. It does suck that we lost these guys. No, you guys can still do your orders, trust me. Trust me, I know you can. Why do you keep saying you can't? Oh, because we're losing sight of the, drills. They're continuing to come in on the Abercrombie. But hopefully with the guided missile destroyers coming in, they will choose to back off, maybe, or not. Okay, they're not doing it. They're being ballsy. The main thing I need to do is spread out our target. There we go. Now we got them backing off. I do need to get somebody out there to go and pick those guys up, but it'll probably end up being the missile destroyers here. Okay. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to just have one of you guys fire at a time. So I'm going to tell you to open fire with yours once you have the opportunity. We have 13 days to get out there to save the Acri. So we should have no problem doing that. Are we still not in 2? No, we're still like 3. Okay, there we go. Now we are approaching. There we go. Missiles out. Close that just so that it's not... There we go. We have, looks like... Remove the drill's ability to fire, or to move, it looks like. Maybe. Yes. The other ships have not currently broken off, so what we are going to do is tell you to cease fire. I'm going to have you fire on the 4. There we go. Now they're breaking off. Hit that one. Looks like we did not destroy its ability to move, however. You cease fire. You're also going to fire on the 4. Open fire. Missiles out. Destroy that one. Now what I can do... Do I happen to have a couple more missiles that got finished in the meantime? I do, in fact, have missiles that got finished in the meantime. Wonderful. Cruiser escort, I got a job for you. Load up your ordnance. Now, the thing is, our missile destroyers do not have any armament whatsoever. They have absolutely nothing in terms of armament beyond the missiles. I don't even know what your real issue is. I think your main thing is that one of your railguns is damaged and then you lost one of your engines. That's about it, really. The main thing is I do not want you getting close to Drill 3 because I do not know if its actual weapons have been knocked offline. Are you guys rearmed or no? I don't think you are. Oh no, you are. Okay, wonderful. That would have been helpful information to have informed me about. Oh no, actually, you guys are still completing the order. Are you guys using the old missiles or something? Is that... Oh my god, is that it? Am I using the wrong missiles on you guys? It's always a possibility that I am using the wrong missiles. No, you guys have the right ones. You're just apparently taking forever to load. I don't know why. Whatever the case is, one of you guys actually looks to have a full load of missiles, so Change of plans. Let's go ahead and follow the Yayik. Two million kilometers. And what I am going to have happen is that the dude who does not have a full loadout of missiles, which looks to be the Albany, is going to go ahead and basically do a drive-by. Is that right? It just doesn't look right to me. I don't know why. This is the downside of using this as a set naming convention. Okay, yeah, no, that is correct. It is the person who made the VLS that also made our initial missile fire control. And that is correct. It is the 25100. But yeah, so you are going to go ahead and do a drive-by basically on the drill. And you're going to fire your missiles at the Yayik. Said you're going to fire your missiles at the drill. Thank you, game. So let's get those guys out there. It's going to take them a little bit. What I am going to, however, do, I think, is have the guided missile destroyers basically hold their position. I do not want you guys approaching and accidentally getting, hit by the drill. So, contacts, head for the drill. We'll find the Yayik. It's the one we had the easiest time detecting, generally speaking. So, we'll be able to find it no problem. Okay, the Abercrombie has arrived. Let's go ahead and get that one into the repair bay. How's our research doing? Have we finished up anything? Nope, not yet. There we go. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to have the guided missile destroyers turn around. Life pods, go save those guys. Then head for Earth. Turn off your active sensors. They're no longer necessary. The cruiser escort can handle this. And grab the Albany. You are still not actually showing it as a potential target right now. Oh, the drill exploded. Or, well, probably had a catastrophic failure as a result of maintenance issues. Being shot down being destroyed by missiles kind of tends to do that. That's fine. We have not yet redetected the Yayik, but it's somewhere out there, and I think at this point we can just kind of ignore it for a little bit. So what I am going to do is actives off on you. Clear all targets, clear all targets. Cruiser escort. Head back to your fleet and join a subfleet. You are currently in the repair bay. "58 survivors rescued." Did we already get them to Earth? Because if so, damn, that was fast. Yes, you did. Damn, that was fast. Unload the survivors. Join back here as a subfleet. The only thing I wish is that you could actually move subfleets as independent units, but still similar to our squadrons, that they would be able to detach and reattach very easily in the same way. That doesn't really work if your ships sort of break apart. It's a bit of a quirk that I do find a bit of annoying. Okay. How are our salvage fleets doing? It is still making its way to the jump point, which is, I guess, not surprising. It's not a particularly fast ship. The Yaic is not exactly a threat to us. So I think at this point we can probably increment in 1-day increments without any major issues. So let's just go ahead and we will deal with getting the Marines later. As of right now, I really want to go ahead and get our stuff working on the brand new tech so we can start preparing for the refit. I am going to go ahead and cancel the order on the missiles because we are going to go ahead and replace those. With this one. So, engine power of 580. A engine, no, excuse me, 570 for this. An engine size of 580. Or, excuse me, a 5.8, rather. Warhead size of 1, so it is a Warhead 8, as opposed to the existing ones, which are actually Warhead 1s. Which is one of the reasons they don't do nearly as much damage, even when they swarm. If you have decent armor, we're not getting through. We're not going to bother with EC or ECM, because that should not be relevant in this case. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves a new company. We're going to go with Russell Armaments, and this is going to be the AIM 832. I don't know if that's correct. Do I need to increase the range, actually? What is the range on our new missile fire control? It is actually 46. Can I get this up to 46, game? What do I need to do to change that? And how does that affect things? That significantly decreases the size of the engine, which could be good or bad. And decreases the engine boost by a fair bit as well. The main thing is... whoops, that's supposed to be a size 8. Part of our problem. My numbers weren't quite right. Let's try this again, actually. There it is. Yeah, okay, that doesn't seem quite right either, game. What? Had active sensors as well on that. Because, yes, that at the top there was showing for setting up the potentially missiles that I'm going to be looking at. So now we finally got that correct. 75,000 kilometers a second speed. Range of 46.31 million kilometers, showing 46.3. I don't know why there's such a stark difference there, but there is, because reasons. I'm pretty sure I have the numbers correct on this when it comes to our engines and everything, so I do not know why it's showing a difference of 0.01 million kilometers. It could just be different rounding situations. That'd be the, I think, most logical assumption. Try this again. This is the AIM. It's no longer the 832. It is now the 846. Because that is my naming convention, size and then range, or at least, the first 2 digits, which are the really relevant ones in my opinion. Just to double check that our current missiles are not named the same. No, they are 841. Let's go ahead and create that. And we will get those researched and starting to be built. Now, I believe these are actually slightly cheaper to an extent compared to our current ones. I'm looking in the wrong place to be able to find out the actual build cost. Ordnance. Our current ones cost 17.5 Galsite. These are 15.2. So they're actually cheaper. They are significantly more expensive, however, by about, 4 times on tritium. However, tritium is a resource that we don't really use much of. So we have boatloads of it in stockpile. We have 6 digits of it. And I think somebody makes some. As 4 million on Alpha Centauri B4. Another 3.3 on Syseti A1. There's ludicrous amounts on Lalande on 96 Leonis if I ever get around to getting out there. It's a little too far away, and the main thing is that it has a lot of resources that would make it great for actually establishing a legitimate production colony there. But it's a Venusian world, so I can't do that unless I go through the massive cost of terraforming it, which we might end up just doing because I really do think 96 Leonis would benefit significantly from being an actual colony instead of just a mining outpost somewhere way out in the distance that I need to frickin' transport all of its minerals from. But yes, so we're going to go ahead and get those going, but I do not currently have any open labs. Let's go ahead and do 1-day increments while we wait to find out what happens with those guys. Second tug group has arrived, and I sadly don't need them to go out there and get the Abercrombie. Or, well, is it? No, it's not the Abercrombie. That's not the one that was destroyed. It was the other one, whose name is currently escaping me, sadly, which is, certainly not a good thing to have happen. That would... Well, no, that's only showing 5. And sadly, it doesn't show me the older ships of the class. Which I do find a little sad that the game doesn't provide that information. I'd have to look through, and I think we're far enough that this may not include it. Ah. Nope, that's the missiles. Ah, yes, it was the Acri. We'll have to remember that. I do not know who was in charge of the Acri. Let's check on that, because that seems like it could be helpful information. Ah, it would have been Valenta Monte. 40, excellent health. Got herself, suffer internal injuries and 10 years of service. Decent promotion score. Could have gone promoted if we had openings for larger stuff. You were killed immediately. You did not manage to get onto the life pods. You were on the bridge, and when the bridge got hit, boom, you were dead. As for lieutenant commanders, we are a bunch of our fighters just not, staffed or something? Because this is way too few lieutenant commanders. Considering the number of... Look at all these F2s that were lost. There's no frickin' way I've only lost 3 lieutenant commanders. Absolutely no frickin' way, because when you are in a fighter, you do not survive. Your fighter gets shot, you are dead. You either die in a catastrophic explosion because your power reactor got hit because you have, no frickin' armor. Or something else gets you. But something always gets you. But you know what, game? You do you, I guess. You do you. We're going to look into getting the Cobalt warheads for even better missiles down the road, but I think these next ones we're looking at are a very significant improvement. And I am going to go ahead and tell somebody to start working on those because we do need to replace all of our stuff with those. And we found a Charug. We found the other stuff that was here in Seoul that sort of disappeared for a while. So Seoul is still under threat. And I think they just invaded one of our civilian colonies. Because it sure as hell ain't ours. We didn't build anything in Io. I am surprised that they decided to invade a civilian colony of all places. But apparently they did. I am so confused by that. It's the Yao mining group. I wonder if the ludicrous, well, not ludicrous, but all the infantry you have there will be good enough. They do have improved personal weapons, so penetration 15, they can do a decent amount of damage, but I don't think you guys are going to win that. I really don't. 7 elite infantry. How much are they estimated to have? Oh, only 1,500, and I don't have the means of going out there and helping you. So long as those guys are there, I can't transport to you reinforcements. I can't bring out the 4th Division with, the freaking 1,700 infantry and all that jazz that we have here. Because I have to deal with the space troops, and I don't have missiles for that. Well, actually, if it's just the Tekka and the 1 Yaek, maybe, but it's going to be a while until I get there. Did I finish a couple of those missiles? Can I load up? Yes, I can. Okay. Cruiser escort detach, load up ordnance. Shit, we got 2 more, and a new class. The Sesh class. We are not done yet. Cruiser escort finished. Wonderful. How's our research doing? Because you guys need to frickin' speed that shit up. We're going to go ahead and send you out to go for the Charug, and I'm going to tell you to initially hang out at... God damn it, game. I really fucking wish you would just default to order for this stuff. I really do. Follow at 10 million. Thank you. Continuing to suffer losses. I mean, you're doing damage to them, but you're not going to win that on your own. And I, again, do not have the means of really helping you right now. I have 11 more of those on the ground. I could refill the guided missile destroyers a little bit, but it's not nearly enough to do any real damage. Somebody got a medal for destroying 1,000 tons of ground forces. Abercrombie is still sitting in repair bay. Finish some research. They didn't win that, right? They're still fighting, correct? Yes, looks like they're still fighting. So pull up ground forces to double check. Yao still has some infantry, but not nearly enough to hold out. Yeah, we're not getting reinforcements out there. I don't even know why you guys are fighting. I don't think that's even really worth keeping, though. If I'm being honest. Oh, well, no. Holy shit, that is quite a bit of duranium and corbonite. And the duranium is pretty easily accessible, which is actually really good. The duranium is not terrible, but it's still not great. Okay, no, I can see why you guys are gonna actually fight that. That makes perfect sense. But yeah, I can't really do much for you. Let's get these new missiles started. And let's continue with the thrusters. Or with the sensors, rather. Lost more. Looks like May is when we will be getting the missiles done and I can start building them. Double check on the EAX. Those are the 10 centimeter one, correct? Yes, unless they change, those should be 10 centimeters. I mean, it's possible the aliens do change out their tech, but damage 1 is a 10 centimeter railgun. Those, no matter what, do not have significant range. So if I can deal with the Tekka, I should be able to get the cruisers to close the gap and fire using their railguns. Okay, I only have the Charug currently. Still only showing the Charug. Need you guys to close further. Close on the Charug and go to 5 million kilometers. Enemy has managed to successfully conquer Io. We are going to be liberating the planet once the opportunity arises. There we go. You are going to fire a salvo at the Tekka. You need to close to 400,000 kilometers. Just for the sake of math, it's easier to just say 400,000, honestly. Now they should not be... And we're going off. We're going to let this run a bit longer. Who's breaking off? Oh, well, nobody's breaking off. It's the ship's leaving orbit. Closing, closing, closing. We are very close. Okay, you guys are within the 400,000. Albany. Fire. 100 missiles out. Did not destroy it, but it looks like we did knock out the engines at the very least because its speed has dropped. The Charog does not have weapons because it is the troop transport. The question is, do I fire the missiles at the Tekka again or do I fire at the Yayak? We know that the Yayak does not have, presumably unless they've changed it, long range armament. Our 15 centimeters, I think it's like 3 of them? No, just 2 on these guys. Really? I have more on a destroyer than on a cruiser. Okay, boy, is that something I'm changing with the new ones? I gotta ask. Nope, but they are a significantly longer range, so I guess it's fine. Whatever. You know what? We are going to go ahead and, I think, fire off on the Tekka again. We want to destroy the Tekka. It's the actual threat to our ability to close the distance. There we go. That is definitely a waste of missiles. I can tell you that right now. We're going to have the 15 centimeters fire on the Yayak, and we are going to close to 119,000 kilometers. And we're going to follow the Charog for this. The reason for 119 is just to make sure that we are, actually within range. Next time, we will be liberating Io. We're going to have to close a little bit more. Let's do 110. Oops. Shots out. 4 hits. Looks like the Yayak thought about coming out after us, but then decided against it. It is, however, breaking off from the Charog and running away, which is fine. You know what? I'm fine with that. Ceasefire, switch target. And we'll just fire on the Charog then. If the Yayak wants to run, I don't know if it's running again. I don't know if that's the same Yayak as before, or if it's a different one. It might be a different one, but it could always be the same. Either way, it's running. I could actually close the gap even more because the Charog does not have weapons to defend itself with. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and close the gap further with the Charog. Let's get into 30,000 kilometer range. Yes, that would be fine. That would be more than acceptable. And we're getting more hits in now. There we go. Yeah, I bet you guys are regretting that now, huh? And of course, railguns have infinite ammo. So there we go. Charog down. Shyam Yati got the Order of the President for naval service based on destroying them. They got the credit. We're going to keep the active sensors on, but we are going to go ahead and turn off the fire control, and we're going to order you guys to regroup up with Carrier Strike Group 1. The reality is, I could try to bring out the missile destroyers to go after the Yayik. But the main thing is that our cruisers cannot keep up. It will eventually drop off. And I don't think we'd be able to really do a good enough job to justify that. So we're not going to. The fighters have decent range, but I don't think they have enough range to get out there, fight him, and then get back. But I could send them on a suicide mission, theoretically, if I really didn't care about them at all. Shit, they're attacking somewhere else now, apparently. What else does Yao own? Oh no, they're still fighting on the planet, apparently. What? I thought they were done already. But Yao Mining Group apparently still has fighting. Really? That doesn't seem right at all. But you can only have a single... The way this game works is that, the civilian mining groups only ever have a single location. So these guys are still fighting on Io, apparently. Holy shit, okay. You guys, quickly, load up Earth, load all subunits, load up the 4th Division. Next time, we're going to try to quickly get the Expeditionary Group 1 up out to Io as soon as frickin' possible to get the civilians support, because they're apparently still fighting. I thought they lost, but I was completely incorrect on that. If I had known that they were still fighting, I would have probably loaded up sooner so we could at least start moving out there. But yeah, like I said, I didn't realize that they were still fighting. I thought they were done for. So I thought, okay, we'll go and liberate the system. Excuse me, we'll go and liberate, the moon next time. But no, they're still fighting. Holy shit. Next time we're going to be not trying to, save them or, liberate them. No. We're going to be trying to freaking reinforce them. I don't think we're going to be fast enough considering their rate of losses. There's like, what? We pull this up. They have 127 infantry, apparently. I believe a ground tick is like 8 hours, so... And I still need to load up. That's the thing. I still need to load up. And I don't know how long that's going to take. Does this give me an estimate? I don't think it does. No, this doesn't give me an estimate, and these guys are slow. I can tell you that right now. They are absolutely slow. If I pull up, though, your load time is 5 hours. It's going to take you 10 hours to load up, which means a single combat tick is going to have gone by. There's probably at best 2 more combat ticks left, depending upon if their rate of loss is speed up, and you are not nearly fast enough to close the something like 90 million kilometers, or excuse me, the 900 million kilometer roughly distance between Earth and Io. We're not going to get there in time to reinforce. That's not how we'll report it in the news, though, of course. We will report it as reinforcing Io. They're the valiant efforts of the local mining group's security forces. And all that. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, they're definitely not surviving. They've taken 75 infantry losses this time around. They're done for, realistically. But Expeditionary Strike Group is ready to go. Quickly, get to Io. Oh, shit. I do need to colonize it, though, to be allowed to actually land troops there, however. Because the way this game works. Oh no, actually, apparently I don't have to do that, I guess, in the case of civilian stuff. Unload, it's going to take you 3 days to get there. Unless they manage to somehow stem their losses, they're not surviving 3 days. They're done on the next tick. Yep, there we go. They just lost the last of their infantry, as well as their headquarters. And yes, their commanding officer was also killed. But this will allow us to test out the fancy schmancy new ground forces that we have designed. If they're not good enough, we can't do anything about it until we research some more techs. So hopefully these guys are good enough. But I am going to have to inevitably replace their losses, so I'm going to have to build some more troops to serve as reinforcement units to actually replace the losses. But that'll be fine. That'll be okay. Yes, so next time we're going to be reinforcing IO. Quote-unquote reinforcing IO. So, I will see you all next time when we go ahead and get the Expeditionary Group 1 out to IO to support it. They need it. They absolutely need it. The Arens is supposed to be down here with the quick reaction forces. Let's go ahead and get that corrected. And I will need to build a new destroyer to replace the Akron that got lost. But you know what? It'll be a fancy schmancy first fresh build on a 2125, as opposed to being a refit into a 2125. I do need to, however, before I forget, because I will forget to do it. Let's go ahead to... Oh no, I was smart enough to remember to actually tell these guys to go ahead and do continual capacity upgrades to get them to 11,000 for our destroyer ones, 43,000 for our carrier, and 23,000 in the case of the guy that will be building our cruisers. The quick reaction forces will be getting reinforced with cruisers going forward, but that's going to be a bit of a slow process because we don't have nearly enough Gaussite to reliably probably do that, especially when we're needing to replace all our missiles. So, yeah. I do want to, however, I think probably send more automated mines to Venus to get this production up. It looks like we're producing about 1,000 Gaussite, according to this. They need more. They will always need more. So Earth has how many automated mines at its current disposal? None. The Earth has none. Alpha Centauri, however, has 8. So we're going to tell it to take that 8 and ship it to Venus. Anybody else have automated mines? The answer should be no, but gotta double check that. Well, with the exception, of course, of Lalande. Lalande, of course, has its. And it is stockpiling resources right now. The big thing for me is their corundium. But of course, we get that same corundium off of Saiseti. Slightly worse availability, but nonetheless. So that's going to be it for this part. It went, about a half hour longer than it's set for, but that's okay. I will see you all next time where we'll be going ahead and hopefully liberating Io, forcing the rest of the raiders out of Seoul, sorting through all the wreckage, and finally getting the refits underway. But I will see you all next time. Quick reminder, if you want to stay up to date with the channel, I generally post only in the Discord when it comes to stuff that happens on the channel. So if you want to know about any potential impacts on the channel because of, events, life, holidays, whatever, I'll generally only be posting in the Discord, so I highly recommend you join that. You can find a link to it down below in the description. But I'll see you all next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.